Mark Thompson, a name whispered in hushed tones among those who dare to delve into the dark underbelly of the unknown. A journalist obsessed with the truth, no matter how terrifying it may be. His relentless pursuit of answers has taken him to the darkest corners of the human experience. His name has become synonymous with The Exorcist, not the iconic horror film, but the real-life events that inspired it. Events that are far more chilling than any Hollywood script could ever capture.
My relentless pursuit of the truth led me down a rabbit hole of ancient evil, a journey that would forever alter my life and those around me. The deeper I dug, the more I realized how unprepared I was for what I would uncover.
Mark was no stranger to the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of our world. He had faced many unsettling truths in his career. He had spent years investigating paranormal phenomena, haunted locations, and unexplained occurrences. Each investigation brought him closer to the edge of the unknown, but nothing could have prepared him for the chilling reality that awaited him when he began to dig into the story behind The Exorcist. The line between reality and nightmare began to blur.
My interest was first piqued by the rumors and whispers surrounding the film's production. The stories were too numerous and too consistent to ignore. Stories of strange occurrences on set, unexplained accidents, and eerie coincidences that defied rational explanation. And a palpable sense of dread that permeated the entire project. It was as if the film itself was cursed. Some dismissed it as Hollywood hype, a marketing ploy to boost ticket sales. But I sensed something more, something that couldn't be easily explained away. A truth far more sinister than any fictional account. The more I investigated, the more I felt the presence of something truly malevolent.
Driven by an insatiable curiosity and a need to uncover the truth and an unwavering desire to expose the truth, Mark embarked on a quest to uncover the real story behind The Exorcist. He knew that the answers he sought would not come easily. Little did he know this journey would lead him face to face with the purest form of evil, an evil that had been lurking in the shadows for centuries, and the consequences would be both terrifying and irreversible. The truth he uncovered would change everything he thought he knew about the world. The year was 1949. A small town in Maryland became the epicenter of a terrifying ordeal that would later send chills down the spines of millions. A young boy, known only as Roland Doe to protect his identity, began exhibiting disturbing behavior. Furniture moved inexplicably. Objects flew across the room with violent force. Deep, guttural voices emanated from the boy, speaking in languages he couldn't possibly know. The boy's family, devout Catholics, were horrified. They sought help from medical professionals. But no explanation could be found for Roland's terrifying transformation. Desperate, they turned to the church, their last bastion of hope in the face of unimaginable darkness. What followed was a harrowing account of demonic possession and the desperate fight for a young boy's soul. Priests performed a series of exorcisms, their prayers and rituals clashing against the malevolent force that had taken root within Roland. The details of the case, documented in diaries and eyewitness accounts, were the chilling inspiration for William Peter Blatty's novel The Exorcist, later adapted into the iconic horror film. Mark, captivated by the raw terror documented in those pages, knew he had to dig deeper. He had to separate fact from fiction, to uncover the truth that lay buried beneath layers of sensationalism and Hollywood embellishment. His quest led him to the heart of the story, to the very place where Roland Doe's nightmare unfolded, the Karras Rectory. The Karras Rectory stood on a quiet street in Georgetown, a silent sentinel to the horrors that had transpired within its walls. The house itself seemed to exude an oppressive energy, as if the evil that had once possessed Roland Doe still lingered, trapped within the bricks and mortar.
Armed with my camera and a growing sense of unease, I approached the house. The air grew heavy, charged with an unseen static. The hair on the back of my neck stood on end. I had stepped into a place where the veil between our world and the next felt perilously thin.
He knocked on the door, his heart pounding in his chest. A wave of cold air washed over him as the door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit interior. The current resident, an elderly woman who had lived in the house for decades, greeted him with a wary eye. She had heard the stories, of course, everyone in the neighborhood had.
Hesitant but resolute, I explained my reasons for visiting. I wanted to learn about the house's history, to connect with the events that had transpired there.
To his surprise, the woman invited him in. Perhaps she was tired of keeping the secrets of the Karras rectory, or maybe she sensed a kindred spirit in Mark, a fellow traveler drawn to the darkness. Section 4. Shadows and Whispers. Unseen footage unearthed. This chapter delves into the mysterious and eerie discoveries made within the walls of the Karras rectory. The interior of the Karras rectory was a time capsule, frozen in the era of the exorcism. Every corner of the house seemed to whisper stories of the past, stories that had been long forgotten. The air was thick with the scent of dust and decay, a musty odor that spoke of secrets long hidden. It was as if the very walls had absorbed the fear and anguish of those who had once lived there.
I could almost feel the weight of the past pressing down on me. The atmosphere was so oppressive that it felt like the house itself was alive, watching and waiting. The echoes of terror clinging to the walls like cobwebs, each strand a reminder of the horrors that had taken place within these rooms.
As Mark explored the house, his camera capturing every detail of the decaying grandeur, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched, that the house was aware of his presence. He noticed something peculiar in the attic, a place that seemed even more untouched by time than the rest of the house. A small, locked wooden chest tucked away in a dark corner, almost hidden from sight. It was as if it had been deliberately placed there to be forgotten. Intrigued, he inquired about the chest, his curiosity getting the better of him.
The elderly woman hesitated, her eyes filled with a mixture of fear and resignation. It was clear that the chest held more than just old belongings. It held memories and perhaps even spirits of the past. She told me the chest belonged to Father Karras, the priest who had performed the exorcism on Roland Doe. Her voice trembled as she recounted the events, as if reliving the terror. It had been sealed since the day the young boy had finally been freed from the demonic grip. The chest was a relic of a dark chapter in history, a chapter that many wished to forget. No one had dared open it, fearing what horrors it might contain. The very thought of what lay inside was enough to send shivers down one's spine.
Mark, his curiosity piqued beyond reason, convinced the woman to let him open the chest. He felt a strange compulsion, as if he was meant to uncover whatever secrets it held. The lock, rusted with age, finally gave way with a groan. The sound echoed through the attic, a haunting reminder of the passage of time. Inside, they found a treasure trove of artifacts. Father Karras's journals, photographs, and other personal items that painted a picture of a man tormented by his experiences, and most chillingly, a collection of 16mm film reels. These reels were a window into the past, a past filled with unimaginable horrors. The woman explained that Father Karras had filmed parts of the exorcism, a desperate attempt to document the horrors he had witnessed. His hope was that these films would serve as a warning to others. The film had never been developed, the memories it held deemed too disturbing to unleash. They were a Pandora's box of terror waiting to be opened.
My pulse quickening, I knew I held in my hands a piece of history, a window into the heart of darkness. The weight of the film reels was heavy, not just physically, but with the burden of the stories they contained.
Section 5. The Devil's Dance Floor. The Exorcism's Aftermath. The events that unfolded were nothing short of a nightmare, a chilling dance between the forces of light and darkness. The film reels were a revelation, a terrifying glimpse into the heart of Roland Doe's possession. Each frame seemed to capture the essence of pure evil, a malevolent force that defied comprehension. The footage was raw, unfiltered, and deeply unsettling. It was as if the very essence of fear had been distilled into these haunting images. The flickering images revealed a young boy contorted in agony, his voice